Welcome to the Quantum Momma podcast, where frequency meets faith, science meets spirit, and motherhood becomes a portal to divine expansion. Hosted by Katelyn Simmons, a Jesus-loving, frequency-healing, free birth mama on a mission to help you heal your body, align your energy, and unlock true abundance, inside and out. Each week, she dives into holistic health, nervous system wisdom, quantum biology, faith-filled manifestation, and frequency-based living, all through the lens of motherhood, entrepreneurship, authenticity, and walking boldly in your God-given purpose. Because you weren't made to just survive. You were made to thrive, vibrantly, authentically, wildly, and in total alignment. Let's recalibrate. Let's expand. Let's do life the Quantum Momma way.
Hey, hello, welcome back to the Quantum Momma podcast. I'm so excited for this episode today. This is something I want to talk about that I think is going to help a lot of people who feel overwhelmed when it comes to changing your lifestyle to be healthier, or when it comes to using something like the AO subscription in your day-to-day life. So many times the feedback I get from the content I share on social media and the feedback I see on other people's content who are sharing something similar, like holistic healing, changing your lifestyle to benefit you in, an alternative way than the traditional Western medical system, is that people feel overwhelmed. They see the influencers on social media posting about their 10-step routine. They see people talking about all of the different things that they're selling, yada, yada, yada. There's so much noise on the internet, and people don't know how to even incorporate this into their life, or they just feel like a deer in the headlights because there's so much information. And so I'm going to share a lot of information with you today, ironically, but I hope that it's constructive. I hope that it's helpful, because I know I've had to learn how to incorporate things into my life to heal in lots of different seasons. So in the season I was in when I was chronically ill, it felt like all of my free time had to go to getting myself well in order to get well. And so that can be a season that you're in. And so if you're really struggling, feeling like, man, I just cannot get through this, if you're in chronic pain, struggling with something that's just not getting better, I think there is an important part of the journey where you do have to take this stuff very seriously, and then continue to take it seriously as your life goes on if you want to have a healthier end of life. When we think of the grand scheme of things, we have one life, and if you don't have your health, you don't have very much. You don't have a lot going on in your life if you're chronically ill. And I can say that because I've been there and I've experienced that. And I want you to know that, if you haven't come from that background of struggling with your health and if you don't understand what it's like to not be able to get up in the morning and do what you want to do, if you don't know what it's like to have difficulty taking a shower, if you don't know what it's like to be so crippled by anxiety and depression that you can't even pick yourself up off the bathroom floor, I don't want you to ever have to experience that. But something has to help you understand the importance of setting yourself up so that your end of life doesn't look like that. And I think we're seeing a lot of really difficult memory issues, people just really getting sick as they age. And I think that most of that could be prevented if we started doing lifestyle changes earlier on. Anyways, I know that was long-winded. This should help you this should help you give you ideas of ways to start incorporating new things into your life so that you can, one, get out of the chronic hamster wheel, and two, set yourself up for a healthy life. Two very important things. I, now looking back, feel so grateful for the chronic stuff that I went through, for to be able to have this understanding of what it feels like to be totally out of control of your body. It was really scary and horrible in the midst of it. But now being out of it and looking back, I can see how blessed I am to have that perspective, because every single day now, it helps me take these things seriously. It helps me think about the long term, and it also helps me not feel fear when I do experience some kind of setback with my health, because I'm able to look at it through the lens of, oh, my body knows what to do. I've got through other things in the past. This could be a healing crisis, so this could actually be for my benefit. A lot of times when we, if you're on this healing journey, you're getting better, you're, gradually improving, and then you hit a roadblock and you feel like you went backwards, it's really easy to feel discouraged. And, we kind of talked about this in the episode about Herxheimer reactions, detox reactions. But the gist of it is, if you haven't heard that episode, is when you feel like you get this setback or something old resurfaces, it is a great sign that your body is feeling capable enough to address something head on so that you don't have to deal with it again. Does that make sense? It's a concept, a lot of times I hear people calling it retracing. Your body kind of retraces its steps. So like, for instance, when I was really young, there were things in my young childhood that resurfaced in my adult life. And that was a way of my body clearing it out, because finally, in my adult years, my body is healing, peeling back layers enough to address the things that have been lying dormant. When you think about fat tissue and you think about muscles and your fascia and your lymphatic system, stuff gets stuck. Stuff gets stored, especially in the fat. If you're dealing with hormone issues, fat retention, there's probably a lot of toxins. There's probably a lot of toxins sitting there. And so don't beat yourself up if it's hard to lose weight. I've had to learn this. I've had to learn that it's hard to lose weight because of toxins in a lot of cases, including my own, and to be patient and gracious with myself, because praise the Lord we have fat, because it's protecting us. And someone might be skeptical. If you're feeling skeptical hearing that, just think about how so many people will get very sick, like cancer will surface when someone who's been very obese loses a lot of weight really fast. That's common knowledge. People know that. Medical doctors even know that. Like, it's not woo-woo to think that there's toxins sitting in the fat cells. And so there are even fat-soluble toxins where we can't just get them out with traditional detox methods. You have to do things like take Shilajit or something that will actually help get those fat-soluble toxins out. Anyways, my point of this episode is to talk about a lot of the wellness tools that I personally use. I don't know how deep I'm going to go into each thing. I know for sure I want to really give you an idea of how you could use the AO scan in your day-to-day life. But I want to kind of go through a lot of the wellness things I personally use and incorporate into my life that have helped me the most. This way you can get an idea, and hopefully multiple ideas, of how you could start incorporating things into your own life. And I don't think that everyone's ideal wellness day is going to look the same. Just like we see with cold plunging. Like, for me personally, cold plunging was amazing. Cold plunging is something that changed my life. Cold plunging helped my hormones. Cold plunging is something I think about and crave all the time. Like, I literally think about living someplace that's cold just so that I can have a big trough of water out on my patio that freezes every night that I can go get in the morning. Like, I love cold therapy. Cold therapy is going to be too much for a lot of people. Cold therapy isn't for everybody. in every season of their life. So you have to use nuance. You have to think about these things. You have to get to know your own body. And that brings me to how it really is one of the most incredible things to have the AO subscription in your life, because you actually are able to see what your specific body needs each day. And it's tailored to you. It's not just a cut and dry, like one thing, Band-Aid, one size fits all type of thing. It's the AO subscription is going to be, working with your body, telling your brain, like, hey, there's pathogens here. It's picking up on whatever these cellular imprints, this old trauma, whatever's going on in your body, the AO scan's going to pick up on, and let your brain know, hey, this is here. Go fix that. It's really, really cool. Okay. And then just trying to think of anything else. I don't want anyone to feel like they can't get well if they don't make a ton of purchases. I do believe that we will grow as much as we are willing to invest in our growth. And that doesn't mean always monetarily. I think it does mean monetarily in a lot of instances. Like, I really had to learn that it was safe to part with my money to invest in myself, because I am the best investment I could ever invest in. Because if I don't have my body, what do I have? And so I went through a long time where my money was just being poured into my health. That does not have to be our whole life, but you do have to invest in yourself monetarily. But I'm also talking about the thoughts that you have. Think about the subconscious mind. You are investing into yourself and your future with every thought that you allow. You are investing into your health and your future with the time that you spend. So your time, we all have 24 hours in a day. And I know it looks different for each person. I mean, being a mom, your 24 hours is going to look different than someone who works a corporate job and is single, and, doesn't have people at home that she's caring for. That's not to say one is greater and one is lesser. Each person's in their own season of life. But I want you to know that there are no excuses too. Like, you can feel like you have the most on your plate ever and you're hustling, you have so much going on. There's no way I can possibly fit anything else into my life. And then the reality is you could just make a few tweaks and infuse things into your life and make the investment of your time, your thoughts, what is going on in your environment, and trade that for some other things. So sometimes it just takes a hard look at ourselves, looking in the mirror. What do I need to change? What am I willing to invest into my future and my health? How can I make this work for myself in this season of life? Because we have to have grace with ourselves too. We're all in a different season. But you do have time. You do have it. It's just like when we talk about, if you're my people, you never say, I cannot afford it. Those words should never come out of your mouth. I won't allow it. I will not allow you to say that if you're my friend, and you're my friend because you're listening to this. So you cannot be saying, I can't afford it, because that is prophesying over your future. Instead, we need to switch the way we think and think, okay, how can I afford this? How can I make this a part of my life? I'm going to pray for this. I would love to see this we have to change the way we're talking and the way we're thinking. If you say you don't have time, you are prophesying that you don't have time. Okay. Rant over about time. Let's get into it. Okay. So when we're thinking about our health, there are some things that really make up the bulk of what is going on. The bulk of our bodies. What are we made up of? If we start at the core, we are energy, 99.99999% energy. That's wild. That is, if anything, that should make you, just that fact should make you think, okay, I need to find out how I can influence energy in my life. And this is why I get so frustrated. I speak to Christians a lot, and I get, the people who are demanding verses to back this stuff up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't. If that's you, I'm sorry. That's not what I do. But i- it's a taboo topic because we have been taught in the church, in a lot of churches, not everybody, but we have been taught that energy is something off limits. It's something bad. It's something evil. But the reality is God created energy. We are made up of energy. This is just how the world is. It's a fact. And so the longer people continue to stiff arm this and act like it's some crazy concept that's evil, you're just going to be, really in archaic times of just not understanding the reality of the world. Quantum physics is emerging. Quantum physics, no one really truly understands quantum physics, but there are so many studies coming out. We are consistently seeing this stuff come out in science. And every time I read something about quantum physics or, start digging into it deeper or researching, it confirms what I know to be true in the Bible 100-fold, over and over and over. So even just grasping this concept of the fact that you are made of energy, in my mind, would make you so much more confident that you have a creator and that the world is so much more than what we could ever comprehend, and that there's a unique divine just destiny for each of us. We are so much more than physical matter. Okay, not the point of this episode. Back to reeling myself back in 99.99999% energy. What are the things that are energy? Okay, so our words are energy. Our emotions are energy. Emotions are energy in motion. So, recap real quick, emotions. Your organs create emotional energy. God gave us emotions. They're not bad things. They're good things. Emotions make life exciting. They spice things up. It would be really boring if we didn't have emotions. If you didn't get excited about things, if you didn't feel joy and happiness, and even if you didn't feel the negative emotions, we need both sides. Okay, so emotions are energy. This is why one of my very first episodes was talking about emotions and the emotion code. And this is the thing that segued me into even looking into this stuff. Emotions are the cause of the cause of the cause. And that's a quote from Deb Bruce. Deb Bruce does a lot of the incredible teaching and trainings within SoulX about the AO scan. And she's just a wealth of knowledge. But I love quoting her on that. The cause of the cause of the cause is emotions. We see this. We see this so much. If you read books like The Body Keeps the Score, or if you read the book, The Emotion Code, The Body Code, he even has a book called The Heart Code coming out, I think in December this year. I'm trying to look around. What other books? There's a book I have on my shelf called Deadly Emotions. There are books packed full of the emotional connections people have tied to diseases, the emotional connections that are tied to sickness and, so many things. Even the chakras. Now, man, chakras are such a hot topic. I can't believe it's like one of the most emotional topics I think that comes up. Like people really feel emotionally angry about this one, but I talk about chakras. Chakras are just a part of your energetic anatomy. Just understanding that your energy should help demystify that. Chakras are just a place of energy in the body. So when we think of, we have this gland right here in our head, near our forehead, between our eyes, called the pineal gland. I never remember how to pronounce it. Anyways, it is connected to spiritual insight. It is a major gland. There is energy there. It's also an area where there is a lot of nerves. A lot of nerves are right there. Nerve bundles are right there. And so when you think about the body from an energetic standpoint, when you think about something like the heart has a lot of energy. The heart has measurable energy. You can measure the heart's electromagnetic field. Side note, that's why people love horses so much, or one of the reasons. You can feel their super strong electromagnetic field of their heart, and that can ground you. We become in sync with the fields around us. You can really instantly sync up with someone. You can have love at first, I would say love at first field connection more than sight, because something energetically is connecting. And the Holy Spirit uses this stuff. God uses this stuff. God knit this into us. God made us this way. When you know that's measurable, the Heart Math Institute does these studies. They have the science to prove this. Why is it so far-fetched to believe that we have measurable energy centers in our major glands, like the third eye, the top of our head where our brain is, our throat where we have our thyroid, our heart where we have our thymus, our solar plexus where we have all of this? We have so much in our gut. Where do you feel emotions? So much of the time. You feel them in your gut. Emotions can make you throw up. Emotions can make you sick to your stomach. Emotions can make you have a headache. Okay, so emotions. Where am I going with this? I think I'm just trying to explain to you, how important it is. Energy. We are energy. We're made of energy. Emotions are one of the deepest roots to everything. And then I was talking about chakras. Okay, so I don't know where I was going with chakras, to be honest, but chakras are areas of the body where we have this energy. Our organs produce energy. We have frequency. Even like every part of you has a measurable frequency. And because it's measurable, they've been able to take the frequency of where livers should be resonating at a healthy frequency, where a healthy brain is resonating at, where healthy eyes are resonating at. They've taken everything and been able to see where should it be resonating when it's in a state of health, and where is it resonating when it's not healthy. Those documented frequencies are actually what's inside the AO Scan subscription. So every time you do a bioresonance scan on yourself, you're able to see, okay, my liver's not doing too hot. My lymphatic system looks like it's something acute is going on, and I need to figure this out. So you get this snapshot, this picture of what's going on in your body in this moment in time, which to me, this is more valuable than lab work. This is when I learned really what bioresonance was, because your energy, you get this energetic frequency snapshot of what's going on in your body. When I learned this, and I had a different bioresonance tech in my practice that I used, and I was able to see how, stuff looks crazy when you're first getting used to looking at bioresonance. You're like, oh my gosh, did this person do cocaine? And it could be someone who's never been around that stuff in their life. That's a crazy example. But people would have gnarly things come up. And when you learn to look at the patterns, you realize, okay, that stuff, we don't need to look at all this. There are patterns. There are things to focus in on, things that actually matter when it comes to looking at this bioresonance. And when you really look at it from a point of view where you are getting used to seeing this stuff and you're not being triggered with fear, seeing things like parasites or pathogens or mold or toxicities and all these things or drugs, then you can hone in and go, whoa, this is giving me a perfect picture of what's going on. How did this know this? It's because your energy, your frequency. And so, things like uh, scorpion bites. Let me just explain that. Why do crazy things come up on our reports with bioresonance? There's multiple different explanations for this. One thing can be that things are inherited. We see this with epigenetics. The way we see this in a lot of different science. I don't know if epigenetics was actually the right word for why I think it is. So when your parents and your grandparents have things going on in their life, like traumas, like hardships, money issues, spiritual things, generational strongholds, that all does get imparted down into the next generations. And it will influence how your genes express. And it will influence the things that are actually there energetically. You're made up of mom and dad. You have this stuff in you. And so sometimes things are just inherited. If you're seeing, this is a different example. If you're seeing alcohol show up all the time, that's hurting someone. People will be like, this isn't accurate because I haven't had a drink in years. Alcohol can just be also showing, okay, you've got a lot of gut fermentation going on. We need to focus in on your gut. It can be that you're having too much sugar. You're drinking too much kombucha. The drug thing can be you were exposed to the energy and resonance of drugs in the drinking water. We have drugs in our drinking water. If you didn't know that, that's why it's so important to drink good water that's filtered and clean and safe. So you can have exposures to things that are so minute, so small, that you're not actively, it's not like you are doing drugs or having all these pharmaceuticals or, maybe you don't use fluoride toothpaste anymore and fluoride is showing up. It's because it's in the water or some exposure, or it can be it happened previous in your life because guess what? Your cells have memory. Your cells remember things. Your cells also can have damage from things that happened a long time ago. So we have so many factors when it comes to looking at our bioresonance scans that I tell people, if you're not in the headspace for seeing all this information, don't look at it. It doesn't matter right now. Don't look at it. The beauty of, if you're going to a practitioner and they're doing bioresonance scans on you, their job is to nitpick all that stuff, look through it, sort through it, sift through it, find the patterns, find what's going on, and give you suggestions and lifestyle changes. Okay, so that's the point of all this information in most scenarios. You get the information, you deconstruct it, understand it, ask the client questions, provide solutions. That's why we want to see this stuff. The average person does not need to be digesting all of this information, especially on a day-to-day basis. Let me tell you, I don't look at my reports very much anymore. I have a practitioner in my pocket. I have a practitioner called the AO scan. So when we're looking at bioresonance, that's amazing, right? You can go to a practitioner, pay hundreds of dollars to get a scan. They will create something for you and spit out a protocol for you. Wonderful. For myself, that's what I was doing for clients. That's what I did. And we had good results. It was awesome. But I prayed and was like, God, I want to help people in a better way. People need this stuff in their hands. I had no idea the AO scan was a thing. Fast forward, God led me to the AO scan. And one of the coolest parts of this is you can run a bioresonance scan. You can run your scans every day and not look at them, and it's going to still benefit you. Why? Because, think about this. It's running your vitals. So that's like energetic lab work, and it's got hundreds of things. It's running your comprehensive scan, which is like CT scan, MRI type stuff. It's like looking at your knees and your joints and the bursa and the spine and the nerves and all this stuff. It's looking at toxicities and pathogens. Without looking at it, you don't have to do a thing. You push a button in under 6 minutes, then it's going to optimize everything it just found. Did that compute? It's going to send balancing frequencies to your body, directly to your body through the quantum field, because we're energy. Everything is energy. There's an energetic field around you. It's like Bluetooth. If you can imagine, when you have the AO scan going, imagine you have this invisible Bluetooth connection between you and the AO scan. That's what you create when you make your client profile. Finds everything out of balance, sends you optimizing frequencies, and you get back into alignment. This is why I have been running AO scan scans for my family every single day for over 4 years now. And it's not something that you don't see the benefit of. It is profound. Let me read a text I just got from you. I just got today, not from you. Maybe you sent this if you're listening. A text I just got. Let's see. Sorry, 1 second. I have to find it. I'm not the most tech savvy, but I'm learning, and I've done the easy scan daily since signing up and the nighttime one, and it already has, and it's the best sleep I've ever had. Okay, it was worded a little funny, or I read that a little funny, actually. Basically, what this woman is telling me is she's been doing the easy scan, which is what I just explained to you, vitals and comprehensive, every single day. She hasn't had it for very long, and she's having great sleep. The best sleep I've ever had. The best sleep she's ever had. Okay, so there are these things that start to realign in your body when you nudge it back into its energetic state of homeostasis. Now, where I was going with all of this is, bioresonance is great. This takes it a step further where you optimize everything. I don't know of a lot of tech out there that will also optimize your whole body. And the ones that I have heard of, they're not something that the average person would just fork over the money for. It's not a subscription. It's not something like this. Okay, so what I wanted to tell you is my little practitioner in my pocket, I can do my scans every day and then go in and do what's called a body system scan and actually get my own custom little suggestions from my practitioner, Mr. AO Scan. Ways to improve your circulatory frequency status. CoQ10, consider massages, eat healthy foods, breathe cleaner air, drink alcohol in moderation, and methylene blue. Okay, and that was specific to this person on this scan that I pulled up for their circulatory health. And that's just one example. I could go through and it's showing the emotional connections for why this person's connective tissue is struggling. Chronic skepticism, acute uselessness, chronic sensitivity, and acute stubbornness. They need omegas, they need collagen and vitamin C, and they need to get more sun. Okay, so I just think that's incredible. And speaking of having your own practitioner to talk to you, and that, you can get this in seconds. So this is why I encourage people, like when you're on your healing journey and you're learning to incorporate things into your life on a day-to-day basis, it's so important to get in the habit, just do it. Just start doing these things on a regular basis, because I guarantee if you start actually paying attention to the stuff that it's telling you, like if it's always saying you need more vitamin D, you best be getting out in the sun. And then you'll probably start to notice, hey, I feel a lot better now that I've been getting sunshine, making vitamin D. Like, what a concept. But instead of having to go pay hundreds of dollars to a practitioner for them to tell you that, because that's what a lot of practitioners are going to tell you, you can just have it right in here. Okay, so then the next really cool thing about the AO scan that I encourage people to do every day is input your supplements into your scanner, which is really easy. You just go in and you actually click on supplements and therapies. You press the little plus button and you input the information about whatever supplement it is that you potentially want to take. Once you get your little library filled up of your supplements, every day. You can either do a morning scan, midday, evening, or custom. And scan, it'll have you talk for 10 seconds. It's going to scan you. Actually, you don't even have to talk for 10 seconds. It just scans you for 10 seconds. And then it gives you a whole list of supplements and therapies that you need. So instead of, you can muscle test. You can muscle test what supplements you need each day. That's a lot of work. Or you can just scan 10 seconds and have your little practitioner in your pocket tell you, based on what's going on, what do you actually need? And this really has saved a lot of people a lot of money, because instead of buying so many things and then never taking them, and who has a supplement cupboard full of junk that you either bought because you went on a protocol and then you didn't finish it because your protocol only lasted a few weeks and you were like, okay, what's next? And then you went back to the practitioner and they muscle tested you or bioresonance scanned you and they're like, okay, time for a whole new $800 worth of supplements. And then now you have more in your stash. What if you actually were able to take what you have, maybe add in one thing at a time, and then scan and see, okay, how much of this do I need to take? Do I really need this one every single day? Do I really need to have someone telling me what I need? And it's case by case, guys. Some people really need the hand holding of a practitioner. Sometimes it's life-changing to find the freedom of being able to be empowered and do things yourself. So no matter where you're at, this is still going to support you and still help you. But that's what I meant by having a practitioner in your pocket. You get custom suggestions for what to be doing, custom suggestions for what to be taking. And that's what the AO scan. And so we're talking about how the basis of everything is energy. And we mentioned emotions. And so now I want to talk about one of the things I do daily to support my emotions, and that is listening to my inner voice sound therapy. Inner voice is this really incredible part of the AO scan. So, I guess a lot of what I'm talking about today is really going to be AO scan, because this is my most used wellness tool. And it is the wellness tool that consistently I keep seeing change people's life. It's the one I keep seeing help people be able to, cut back on what they're spending health-wise in other ways. They're not having to do as many chiropractic appointments because their sessions are holding longer. They're not having to go to those therapies as much because what they're getting is lasting longer. They're not having to spend so much on supplement protocols because they're improving without taking 30 plus supplements at a time. Because you are energy. And I'm not saying, looking at everything from an energetic standpoint, people get, this society, this world, people are like so heavy on this or that, one way or the other. They don't want to have a balance. And you have to come at everything with some kind of balance. Just because you can imprint the frequency of an apple into a supplement or into your water doesn't mean you can replace the nutritional value of eating an apple. Just because you can do all this frequency stuff doesn't replace walking. It doesn't replace exercise or the physical sunshine on your skin, but it is just as important. So it's not an either or, it's both. It's both. It's physical and energy, because that's what you are. You are physical, but most of us are missing the energetic piece. Okay, so back to inner voice. It's this really cool thing within the AO Scan subscription. All of this comes included in the same subscription. So I really don't understand why more people don't jump on this really fast when they hear about it. It just makes me think I have to do a better job at explaining it. So I talk about it all the time, because I'm like, if you really knew how much this could change your life, you would have had this years ago. I've had so many people sign up and they're like, man, I wish I signed up 6 months ago when I found you. Man, I wish I signed up a year ago when I found you. And I've been watching for 2 years. Why didn't I sign up back? And it really kind of just takes, everyone has their own little battle in their head they have to go through of trying something new or believing something or understanding something. And um, but whenever you do start, it's kind of like stepping into the next really good chapter. I mean, when you get to start incorporating frequency and energy into your life, there's no looking back. The people who sign up and stick with it are changing the world. They're sharing it with more people, and more people are finding freedom. Freedom from your emotions is one of the biggest roots. Okay, and that's why I'm talking about this part right now is inner voice. You go in here. I don't, if you're on the YouTube version, you might be able to see my screen. We've just got just showing inner voice. I have other videos and stuff about this, but basically what you do is you just press a little microphone button. You hold this up and you speak into it. It records your voice for 10 seconds, and then it's going to spit out custom sound therapy tailored to you. And that sound therapy, when you listen to it in your headphones, it's going to have binaural concepts. So if you're familiar with binaural beats, this is a piece of it, but it's binaural concepts. It's going to be working out your brain and helping you release trapped emotions. It's going to be helping you bring balance to your life emotionally. And one of the other really cool things is, remember how I talked about there's these books that list out the emotional causes for physical things? We see this in so many things. Like, one of the ones I've heard multiple times, and I'm not saying this is a diagnosis. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers. For some people, one of the connections to something like breast cancer or lumps or problems in the breast tissue can be feeling like they were never nourished by their mother. And there's different ways people explain that. That's just one of the things that came to mind. There are many different books about this. There are Christian, what's the word? Books from a Christian standpoint talking about the spiritual roots to disease. And they all really line up. It's crazy. Whether you're reading something from someone who is not a Bible believing Christian or someone who is, it does all line up. And there are these universal truths to how our emotions impact the body. Just like how we know the liver is connected to anger and frustration universally. Universally. When we look at how emotions are impacting the body and what they're connected to internally and how they will manifest in actual symptoms and problems, this gives us a really great picture into how we can start changing. And if you don't focus on the emotions and the hurts and, work on forgiveness, forgiving the past, forgiving other people, forgiving and letting go, it is going to manifest into physical problems and disease. This is so important. This is so important that you grasp that emotions are one of the top things. We cannot be led by our emotions. Emotions are good, but we cannot be led by the lies that come from emotions. Okay, so when you go in, you get this music to listen to, and people, magnificent, incredible testimonies come from this all the time. I mean, this is the thing that really shifted me. This is the thing that changed me in so many ways. This is why I have been able, one of the reasons why I have been able to continually transform as a person, and why I believe God has been able to use me more, is because I have been releasing these layers of junk continuously for over 4 years. And the other way I talk about that really helped me was emotion code. And I have a whole episode on that. But this makes it so easy that you can just listen to music and release and let go. And many people feel it in their bodies. They feel things realigning and shifting and changing. And I want to tell you why. Why do we feel a physical change? Why can sound, why can music, why can releasing and balancing emotions impact the physical body? Okay, so we're going to see right here, when this person were to listen to the supportive note of C, which is in this music, when they listen to this soundtrack, it's going to help bring balance to the negative emotions of anger, the tendency to feel anger over inconveniences or unmet expectations, disappointments that manifest as self-sabotage and anger, chronic worry, indecision, and dread. So when this person listens to this specific part of the custom sound therapy, it's going to help bring balance to this anger and these negative emotions. In your report, it will show you the positive side of things that we want to bring balance to. We want to help get to the positive side of things. It's going to show you how this emotional imbalance for this specific report that I'm looking at, tailored to this specific person, those negative emotions are connected to vitals issues with iodine, proinsulin, to other emotions of betrayal, disappointment, and nervous exhaustion, and potential causes of these emotions being out of balance and connections can be a bacteria, parasite, and an issue in the brain and spine. And then we've got some imbalanced suggestions of supporting the pancreas, nervous system stuff, and digestion. So anyways, I wanted to kind of read that little tiny snippet of this person's report to you to help you wrap your head around how much emotions are influencing. So emotions, just from this one little thing, emotions can be connected to other emotions. They can be connected to issues in the vitals. They can be connected to bacteria, parasites, and problems in the physical body like the spine. And things releasing the emotions and supporting the physical body with digestive support or nervous system support can all become this cohesive, incredible, holistic way of supporting the body. What happens when we only support the body with physical things and we don't address the emotions? They will keep coming back. The problems will keep coming back until we get to the emotional and spiritual and energetic roots of why it's even there in the first place. Is this tracking? Is this making sense? Why weren't we taught this? Maybe some of you were. I know some people, you might be like, I already know all this stuff. But most people, this is news. This is news to the public. This is why I talk about it so much. This is like, if you don't understand, even in our pets, we can see this. Stuff will manifest in pets, physical things, because of emotional issues they're dealing with. They take on the emotions of people. They have their own little emotions. This is why pets respond to this sound therapy so good too. Okay, and then the other connection is color. When we have sound therapy and then we pair it with color therapy, this is why in Solix, when you sign up and you get a bundle, they encourage you to get a bundle with the colored lenses so that you can be wearing those, having that frequency of color, affecting your eyes, then influencing your brain while listening to your tones that are affecting your brain, giving instruction to your body, releasing, allowing yourself to be brought back into balance. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Okay, so I think I started out talking about how this episode was going to be about how to be doing things each day. And I see that we have really come far off track from that. So I want to kind of bring myself back in, just what I've already shared with you. This is part of my routine. Every single day, there's something in this called multi-scan, where I can scan up to 16 people at once, where it's going to scan them and optimize them. Remember how we talked about it scans the body and then brings those frequencies back into balance as best as it can. And each day it's going to be helping you nudge back into homeostasis. I do that every day for my family. I scan us and optimize us. I actually do it multiple times a day. That takes under 6 minutes. If you don't have 6 minutes in your day, please make 6 minutes a priority to press start. You don't even have to be looking at it or buy it. You just press start. Once it's set up, it is so easy. And then, you know, the other thing was looking at suggestions for me specifically. And so the way I use that is when I go into my body systems scan, if you don't have the AO scan, this will all make sense if you decide to maybe, watch some of my videos where you can see it. It'll make more sense if you get the AO scan subscription and you're in there, going through my course that explains how to be doing all this stuff. But it's also very user friendly, so it's not like it's a huge ordeal. You're gonna get it. It's easy. It's user friendly to do this stuff. But when you go into your body system scan, or even your inner voice scan, your inner voice report, and you see those suggestions specific to you, what I like to do is look for some patterns. So it takes me a couple seconds. I skim through. Okay, what showed up multiple times for me? Oh, to take this supplement. Okay, I'm going to take my fulvicumic acids, my Ionix Gold. I'm going to take that today and probably tomorrow and probably incorporate that into my routine for a while and see if I see things shift, because I saw that pattern for multiple systems of my body or multiple emotions. This fulvicumic acid, Ionix Gold, came up. Thank you, my AO scan practitioner friend. I'm going to take this. And I'm not telling you that the AO scan treats or cures or prevents any disease. It is not a replacement for your practitioner. Disclaimer. But that's what I like to call it, because I feel like it is an accurate way to explain it. So there we go. We already have 2 things that I would do in a typical day that are making my life better and my family's life better and setting me up for a smoother continuance of my life. Every day that I'm optimizing, I'm helping offset all of the junk around us. I'm helping offset the things that I've been exposed to. I'm helping offset, the things from pathogens and parasites I was exposed to electromagnetic fields that were super strong that blasted my cells, to my lack of exercise and lack of things. I'm helping offset that. And it's not replacing exercise. It's not replacing my due diligence of trying to limit my toxin exposure, but it is helping my cells be resilient. It is helping my body be resilient in the face of all the toxins that we are exposed to each and every day. The next thing that I do is my inner voice. This is something I really try my hardest to do. I have headphones sitting around in multiple places. I've got my bone transducing headset. I have them around the apartment so that I don't have an excuse. I have to listen to my sound therapy. As a mom, I can tell you this is going to change your life. If you struggle with being overstimulated, if you struggle with feeling emotional, this is what I believe was the biggest piece to helping me with depression and anxiety and PTSD was inner voice. I would cry every time I listened to it for so long. It was like every time I listened to it in the beginning, like it was another layer peeled back, where it was just like, oh, a sigh of relief. Like, I'm going to get through this. And as I continued, anxiety decreased, depression decreased, PTSD decreased. This is my story. This is my personal experience. I am not telling you that this is going to cure you, but I am telling you that it is worth a shot. It is worth a shot to try this stuff if you have not yet, because like I told you, you are made of energy. You have emotions. Your emotions are really a huge part of what's going on. And this can help you with your emotions. Okay. And it's as easy as listening for under 15 minutes a day. And you can do other things while you listen. You don't have to go, sound baths are incredible. I have singing bowls. I love them. When I can, this is one of those things that's not on my priority list. I don't pull out my crystal singing bowls because I have a toddler. I don't pull them out and do a sound bath for my family all the time because that is a lot of effort. So, especially when you were talking about time and making time for doing things, we want to be smart with our time. We want to stack things. When we can stack things and consistency is key when all of this stuff, we have to be consistent. A sound bath is amazing. I'm not discrediting sound baths. Go to those if you love those. If if you're still single and young and have all the time in the world and you don't have all these things at home you have to do and you can do appointments, go do them. If you want to minimize your time and maximize your efforts, just get the AOScan subscription and pop on your headphones and every day record your voice and listen to those tones. I strongly believe it will transform your life like it transformed mine. It's just incredible. So, I'm just going to read you this little part from it's actually in the AOScan subscription explaining how inner voice works. Inner voice technology uses sound harmonizing techniques which generate balancing audio frequencies derived from the voice spectrum, excesses and weaknesses in the human voice. So it's scanning and evaluating over 10,000 frequencies. Inner voice records your voice and analyzes 12 notes across 9 octaves. Inner voice focuses on 3 high notes that are excessively out of balance or overrepresented, as well as the lowest note that is being suppressed. So the first 3 that you see in your report, you're probably going to be pretty aware of. Like when we see something like, let me scroll down in this report and show you, you know, conflicting beliefs and disparity between conscious beliefs, values, and actions. And then, conditional love may be caused by an immature emotional foundation based on using rewards and punishment to communicate one's needs and expectations. And then the third, angry versus accepting of change. Those top 3 are something that the person who did the scan is most likely aware of and they can relate. And they're like, oh my goodness, how did this thing know that's me? That is my life story, whoever's reading this. And then the fourth one is something that people usually are really suppressing and might not be aware of. In this case, the fourth one is suppressed emotional versus self-expression. So back to reading this part. Every single note produces a series of tones called the overtone series. The human ear tends to hear these subtle variations as essentially the same. Inner voice technology is designed to accurately capture and analyze this data. Inner voice helps harmonize our everyday life by improving concentration, creativity, mindfulness, emotional intelligence, stress management, and interpersonal relationships. And man, is that true. My creativity, if I'm ever feeling blocked in my creativity, I listen to inner voice. All right, I cannot believe we're almost to the hour mark on this episode. I haven't even gotten to hardly touch on the AOScan. This might have to be a multi-part series talking about incorporating things into your life, but I'm going to pause on the AOScan. There is so much that I do within this subscription each and every day that does not take up much of my time, but I've been consistent with, and it continues to benefit my life. It continues to help me. It continues to really just create so much change in the lives of the people that I'm sharing it with, the people that say yes to it. I get these texts every day, helping people get through, things. I want to be careful with the types of testimonies I share. People are weird, but there's, you have to be careful because people can take things out of context and say, well, you said that it cures this. And I cannot say that. It's not a cure. It's not a treatment. It's not a replacement for medical care, but it is something that's going to help bring a lot of balance to your life. Okay, so if we're thinking about what your body is made of, let me just touch on some of these things. So when I'm thinking about energy, 99.9999% energy, that is one of the reasons why using pulsed electromagnetic field therapy and grounding and sunlight are another of my top 3 things. So let me start with the free ones. Grounding. grounding, we could do a whole episode on grounding. When your bare skin touches the earth, there is an instantaneous transfer of electrons. Electrons, negative ions, these are responsible for a lot going on in your body. You need negative ions. You need to be grounded. You need these extra electrons. They help combat free radical damage. They help combat oxidation, which is essentially aging. And it's a part of how your body has energy. If you can imagine your body as a battery, you need enough electrons filling up that battery to have a full charge. And things in our life like processed foods, LED lights, artificial blue light, screens from like our computer and our phone, being away from nature, we're really designed to be 100% of the time connected to the earth. That's how God intended us. We were supposed to be having this continuous charge. Unfortunately, as time has gone on, the electromagnetic field of the earth has decreased. We have gotten farther and farther away from being connected to the earth. We wear rubber-soled shoes. We live in homes that are separated. Most people are too grossed out to even take their shoes off anymore. Like, it's an upside down world right now. So even the act of 2 minutes every morning of touching the earth, or even touching the concrete outside of your house, barefoot, or putting your hand on a tree, or grabbing some plants, getting that connection. Imagine, if you were to go jump a battery in a car, you have to clamp the wires onto the batteries. You have to clamp your hands and your feet onto the earth for the connection to go. It's how you're going to jump your battery. And so that's a free thing that is going to support your energy and your energy. And when you have a lack of electrons, that is sickness and disease. That is no bueno. That's why we have things like AO rain. If you are ready to go gung-ho on the high-tech wellness center type stuff to fill your home with, like I have, AO rain is one of your top things you want to get. Message me. You can get it cheaper than it shows on the website. AO rain is one of my favorite things. I can't wait to get the new one. I have the original model that came out, and I cannot wait to get the new one that's even stronger. Essentially what's happening is you sit under this thing and you push a button, and all of these negative ions dump down on your head, and you sit on a grounding mat, and it's like whoosh, they all get pulled through your body. So it's so many more times effective than just grounding. I'm not discrediting grounding. Get your grounding in every day. But it's like the most fast way to just jumpstart your battery. If I could have had that, I know if I could have had that as one of the first things, I don't think it existed. I mean, it didn't because they just came out with it. They just launched the brand new AO Rain just in September. So these are next level things that are unlike anything you've heard of, because the world, Solex in particular, but the world is finally waking up to the fact that we are energy. We are made up of energy. We need good energy. We need more good energy, and we need to have less of the bad energy, less of the non-native electromagnetic fields. That's why if you ever go down in my description on my podcast, which I actually need to update my link there, that's why I talk about Aries Tech. That's an EMF remediation product that I use. That's why I talk about Leela Quantum Tech, this block I have back here behind me, EMF protection. Those two companies are awesome. I have them linked down there because when you can lessen the load of harmful electromagnetic fields, and I'm not talking about being super scared and paranoid about it. I just mean lessen the load. Turn your Wi-Fi off at night. Get a little Christmas tree timer and just have it automatically turn off at night. Just lessen the load. Don't wear an Apple Watch. If you wear an Oura Ring, turn the Bluetooth off during the day. just lessen the load. Get the tech that helps you minimize it, mitigate it, harmonize it, and increase the good energy. Use AOScan, optimize your body, increase the good frequency. Stuff like rain, that's something you can put on your vision board. Some of you are ready to go for that. I know people have been messaging me asking about it, and uh, I'm ready to help you if you're if you have questions. But I want to have this like a wide range of ways you can support your body. I don't want everyone to think, oh my goodness, I have to buy everything that's so expensive. I want you to know you can heal with the little things. You can start with the small things, and actually, if you're dreaming of the things that I talk about and I share about, like the foot detox, like the terahertz wand, like the prana mat, like AO Rain, I'm looking around my office at all these things that have just really radically helped me and helped so many people. The AO Hub, RTMS, lasers, all these really cool biohacking things. Like you're going to nerd out and be so excited when you get to try them and use them. If those are things that you have your sights set on and you're excited about, I challenge you right now to start being faithful in the free things. Start being faithful in the little things. Start being faithful in learning. Start being faithful in changing the way you speak and changing the way you think. And you will get those eventually. If you continue to do these things and when you are faithful with little, you can be trusted to be faithful with much. And I've seen that in my journey so much. Consistency. Consistency is one of the most important things that you can learn in your life. I'm really certain about that. So start with the free things like grounding, sunrise light, sun on your skin, walking, movement. The power of movement just on its own, if you have a rebounder, if you don't have a rebounder, if you have a jump rope, if you have the ability to move your body, you already have won the lottery. I say that from experience of not being able to move my body in the way that I wanted to move my body, of being stuck, of being bedridden, of having tremors, of being so out of control of my body. I promise you, if you can move your body, if you can exercise, you have won the lottery. There was so long where I could not exercise. I had exercise-induced, what do you call it? Relapse, not a relapse, but if you have this, you know what I'm talking about. Where you just are flat on your back after you exercise, and that can last for weeks. It causes so much inflammation and it makes your nerves on fire. Anyways, my point is, I'm so grateful for the ability to move my body now and not have a setback, to not detox so hard that it feels like I'm doing damage. So be faithful with the little things. Do what you can. Let me just go through a list of some things that are low cost. Dry brushing, magnesium, Epsom salt baths. You can really get a good sweat from a hot bath. That's what I did before I got a sauna. You can get a great sweat from going outside on a hot day. Don't complain about the hot weather. Say, thank you, God, that you gave me this free sauna. Cold therapy can be actually a very cost-effective thing. If your body is in a position where that's something you can start incorporating, I'll have to do an episode where we kind of talk about the nuances of it. Cold therapy is something you can do, and a great way to start out slow is actually just ice cubes in a bowl that you can fit your face in, and just doing it on your face enough to reach up to your vagus nerve. And that can be powerful. That's something I did so much, and talking about it makes me want to go do that. If something like the AO scan is something you can, really look at, where can you cut back on the things that are not getting you magnificent progress. For me, that looked like cutting back on going to different types of practitioners for different types of sessions, and I replaced it with the AO scan. I no longer had to go to a therapist who had sound therapy that cost me hundreds of dollars per session when I then found the AO scan later. Like I never would need that again. But that was something that I felt so much change from. And you can hear more of my story if you go back to my other episodes, but I'm just trying to help your brain think of the things that you can start being really faithful in, so that when you want to add in the big heavy hitters, you can. And you'll know that it will be so beneficial for you because you'll actually be consistent. I built so much of my habits with my health out of a need for it. And so that's one of the reasons why I feel so grateful for it. When I think back to how hard times were, it pushed me to become faithful in taking my supplements, faithful in taking those Epsom salt baths, faithful in when I could walk without my back flaring and getting stuck and just being in debilitating pain. I wanted to walk every day. And so I'm grateful for those times that helped me mold me into this person that loves to be consistent. And so you can actually make the choice of, no matter where you're at right now, you can make the choice to become that person. And one of the things that can help you in, if you think you always start something and never stick to it, start changing the way you're thinking about that. Start saying things to replace that. I am a person who always finishes what I start. I am a person who is committal. I am a person who continues to do things even when it feels hard. Start speaking those affirmations over yourself. And back to the AO scan real quick. The AO scan can help you with that too, because it has mind sync, which I've touched on before, but it takes those affirmations and actually programs them into your subconscious mind. So it's like an easy button hack. Like it just makes it's like a hack. It is a hack. It's just, instead of having to, fight that the conscious barrier, you're just bypassing it, like sinking these into my brain. So I don't know, guys, that was kind of a episode that kind of felt like it was all over the place, but I really hope that it was helpful. I hope that we touched on some things that maybe were, I don't know, eye-opening or encouraging to you. Being consistent is going to help you with everything in your life. Being consistent is one of those things that's going to help you be a better business owner. It's going to help you be a better wife or husband. It's going to help you learn more. It's going to help you in so many areas of your life, especially on this healing journey. So I guess I'll end there. We started with one of the foundations of health, which is your energy. There's so much more we could dive into with that, but I guess that's why we have a podcast, right? We'll just keep digging deeper into new layers. I pray that this blessed you. If you have any topics you really want me to cover, please reach out anytime. I would love to hear the types of things that you want to hear. I would love to hear, what are you needing? What are the things that you don't quite understand that you want to deep dive on? Or what are the things that just we need to talk about? All right. Check the show notes for any links. I have my Abundant Health Blueprint. It's an ebook that is only $11 that goes over a lot of the biblical reasons along with the root cause stuff. So it's like this root cause and biblical overview of why God made you to be healthy. Do you really believe God designed you to be healthy? If you're needing help with that and you want some declarations and affirmations and prayers to specifically start speaking over your life to claim a healthy, abundant life, grab that ebook down below. I think it's over 70 something pages, and it is chock full of, the action steps of things that you can start doing that are free. Like we mentioned today, when you are faithful with little, you'll be faithful with much. It's full of stuff. I think I made it in black and white so that you can print these pages off. I think that you're going to want to print it because there are prayers, there are declarations, there are truths in there that you are going to want to be speaking over yourself over and over and over. So check that out in the show notes below. It's only $11. Of course, I always have all my other favorite things linked down there for you. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Quantum Momma podcast. Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Quantum Momma podcast. If today's conversation expanded your mind, nourished your soul, or lit a fire in your spirit, share it with a friend. Tag Katelyn on Instagram at Katelyn Simmons Official and at the Quantum Momma and leave a quick review. Don't forget to check the show notes for this episode's featured products, her favorite frequency healing tools, and a free gift. Created to help you go deeper. You were made to thrive, Mama, in wholeness, wealth, and wild alignment. Until next time, keep rising, keep resonating, and keep living the Quantum Momma way.